Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found. Safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound.
You may be seated. Who gives this woman to this man in marriage? I think she does. What a beautiful day. Too bad we couldn't find a nice place for this. Marriage is a big deal. That's why we spend so much time planning and spending money up for it. And in all the activity and worry and stress of getting ready for the wedding, sometimes we miss out on why we're putting so much effort and money into one day. I can sum it up in 2 words. Committed companionship. Sometimes we're lonely and we want some company. So we call a few friends, we get dressed up, and we go out for some frivolity. Sometimes we just want a shoulder to cry on. So we find someone we can trust. And when we're single, that kind of companionship can be hit and miss. Our friends may not be always there, may not always be there for us. And so we seek a companion who's committed to us. And we've got such great examples of that kind of commitment in Chris's parents, Don and Mary, and in Narineh's mom, Arkanaz, who was married to the late Saruj for almost 25 years before he passed. Those parents, and I'm sure a few of us here will attest, however, that wanting a companion to keep us company does not necessarily make a marriage. Because if that's all we're looking for, that's a very selfish reason. What makes a marriage is when you seek out someone to be a companion to. And that's where this marriage stuff kind of goes all wibbly-wobbly and spiritual. In Genesis, it says God wanted to be a companion to whom he could be committed. Someone he could provide for and keep safe, and so he made us. He also realized that we needed a representative of him with skin on. So we could relate to that kind of companion and gave us to each other. So our marriage is actually a representation of the kind of relationship God wants with us. A committed companionship. This is not just someone we hit the clubs with on Friday night or a shoulder to cry on. It is all of that and so much more. It is the essence of love. And let me give you a definition of love to make this a little bit clearer. Love is the accurate estimate and the adequate supply of another person's need. That's what you two are committing to today. Not what she can do for you, and not what he can do for you. You both have to be prepared to be concerned about meeting the needs of the other 100%. Now, how are you going to do that? Probably not 100% of the time. But I can guarantee you that when the times are hard and you get mad at each other, it will be because you have taken your eyes off of your job. When this ceremony is over, your needs are no longer your concern. They belong to your spouse. Jesus put it this way: greater love has no man than this, that he lay down his life for his friend. And here's the payoff to living this way. Not only do you get a truly committed companion for the rest of your life, but now you can actually experience to some degree how God feels about you every day of your life. As the Apostle John said, it is true that no human being has ever had a direct vision of God. Yet if we love God, God does actually live, but if we love each other, God does actually live within us. And his love grows in us towards perfection. And the guarantee of our living in him and his living in us is the share of his own Spirit, which he gives us. And before we get into the legalities, we have a poem reading.
This is for both of you. A small poem of happiness, filled with small glories and little triumphs. A fragile, short, cheerful song, filled with hope and all sorts of futures. Because at weddings we imagine the future. Because it's all about what happened next. All the work, negotiation, and building and talk that makes even the tiniest happily ever after something to be proud of for a week forever. This is a small thought for both of you. Like a feather or a prayer, a wish or trust and love and hope. And find for your heart stay true, like a tower or a house made all of bones and dreams and tomorrows and tomorrows.
Okay. When I promised to do this, I promised because I get involved in your lives. So before we move too much further, I have to ask this. For my part, do you two promise to love each other, in spite of each other's flaws, to the exclusion of all others, with a willingness to lay down your life for each other? Now, this is what the state of California requires me to do. Chris, repeat after me. I, Chris Ferderer.
I, Chris Ferderer.
Take Narineh Avansanian.
Take Narineh Avanesian.
Thank you. To be my lawful wedded wife.
To be my lawful wedded wife. To have and to hold. From this day forward. Better or worse. For richer or poorer. In sickness and in health. To love and to cherish. As long as we both shall live.
Are you ready for this? Narineh, repeat after me.
I, Narineh Avanesian. Take Chris Ferderer, my lawful wedded husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better or worse, richer or poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, as long as we both shall live.
Now, folks, I'm going to ask you a question. Because you all have a responsibility just by showing up here. And I want you to respond in the affirmative when I ask you this question. Will you, as friends and family, promise to support the continued marriage of Chris and Narineh, loving them through both the trials and cheering them in the victories, forever strengthening the bond between them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay. So, by the virtue and the authority vested in me as the Commissioner of Marriages of the County of San Mateo, State of California, I now pronounce you, wait for it, husband and wife. You may now bring kids and boys. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Ferderer.
Paris, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up first, Nazi, I'm a Messian, Don and Mary Federer. Here comes our brides, maids, and groomsmen, Carmen and Brian. Up next, your maid of honor and best man, Mel and David. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my new friends, the new Mr. and Mrs. Narineh and Chris Federer. Let's give our bride a party. Another big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.